Well, hey everybody, happy Monday and welcome to Pop Council here on the HCA YouTube channel. In this show, we cover everything in pop and geek culture, basically anything from Disney to Marvel, DC to Star Wars, theme parks, and everything in between. I'm Wendy Lee, and of course, I am always joined by my lovely co-host, Jami Philbrick. Hey Jami, how are you this morning?
Hey Wendy, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. My belly is still full from last night, or actually from yesterday. We had a nice
Yes.
little early holiday luncheon for the LA branch of the Hollywood Critics Association. The fish tacos were good. My husband can contest because I brought home one taco leftover and it was delicious. What did you get? What did you order?
I got the burger and I should have gone with the fish tacos.
Really? So many
Yeah.
people got the burger. I was a little jealous. I was like, man, that looks
No, you
good.
probably made the right choice with the fish tacos, but I brought Murphy, my dog, with me, and he enjoyed the chicken tenders, the
Oh,
appetizers. So yeah, those were good.
yes. Yes. All eyes were on Murphy when he walked over to the hors d'oeuvres table. We're like, Murphy's just gonna take the table. Yeah.
He almost tried to. But we've got him. I've got him under strict supervision at this point.
Yeah. No, he was so good. Got all the pets. He was definitely the star of the show.
Yeah,
Well,
he
Jamie,
always is.
oh yeah, he is. And as you guys know, here on Pop Council, it's not a proper whole Pop Council without a third member. So we got to bring him in today. And joining us from the movie couple, which is weird to say, Dustin Szany. Hello,
Hey,
Dustin.
everyone.
Hey, Dustin.
How's it going?
Welcome to the show.
Well, hey, it's exciting to be here. I watch you guys almost every single week, and I'm just like, I love the conversations that you guys have, and I'm like, oh, I get to be a part of it now.
Nice. Well, welcome to the show. So, for the viewers who are meeting you for the very first time, tell them a little bit about what was the very first thing that got you into the geek culture? Was it a comic book? Was it a movie?
Oh, it was definitely comic books. I started, it's kind of hard to tell, like pinpoint exactly which one, because it kind of started with my brothers and I kind of collecting comic book cards. So, especially a lot of Marvel, that's what we really, really focused on, were a lot of the Marvel cards. But the thing that really made me like dive into the world of comics is definitely the X-Men. That 97 X-Men that came out. Oh, I would sit down and I'd be so disappointed every time it was a rerun because I was like, I want to see the stories that I haven't gotten to see yet. So yeah, definitely X-Men, definitely Spider-Man. I have the most comic books that I have is probably that of Spider-Man. But yeah, I've always been kind of like a comic book DC nerd. I can't really tell you when I started like saying like Star Wars or Ghostbusters because I was introduced to things like that so early on that I really wouldn't be able to give you a date because they've always been with me, kind of a thing. You know, my parents took me to go see Ghostbusters in the theaters. And my mom was like, what did you like the most about Ghostbusters? And I was like, oh, big marshmallow man kind of thing. Because I was 3 at the time. So I really couldn't, that's the most I could explain just how much I loved the movie. So I've always kind of been into geeky pop culture nerdiness.
Speaking of Ghostbusters, have all three of us seen Afterlife at this point? What do we think?
Yep.
Let's real quick round the horn. What do we think of it? I think for me as a Ghostbusters fan, this like they weren't shying away from using the nostalgia. You can call it fan service or whatever, but I think it's been so long since we've had a true Ghostbusters film. I was delighted, and the ending got me a little misty eyed. Jami?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I went into it and like first 3 minutes of the movie, I'm thinking, where's Bill Murray? Where's Dan Aykroyd? I can't wait. And then what Reitman did so well, and maybe too well in this sense, is that by I'd say 25 minutes into the movie, I could have cared less about the other Ghostbusters, and that I loved McKenna Grace and Finn and these characters and this new world that they've set up, Paul Rudd, all that. And by the time, spoiler alert, but they're on the press tour, so I don't think it's a spoiler, that when Bill Murray and those original actors do show up, I didn't really care. I was like, give me more McKenna. Like, she's the hero, not these guys. So that, in a sense, I think shows that Reitman did a really good job setting up this new stuff, maybe to the detriment of the old stuff. And then I also felt like, and this isn't a real big knock. I mean, fans weren't happy with the 2016 version. They got something completely brand new and fresh, didn't like it. They want the old Ghostbusters. So like Force Awakens, I felt this was a beat for beat remake of the original Ghostbusters. Again, not a huge knock. That's what fans wanted, but I liked the new stuff so much that I just wish they had gone a little bit more in the new direction than the old direction. But if they did, they'd have 2016 all over again. What? It's kids? What kids? So they had to cover their base. They're even getting that a little bit now, but they had to cover their bases.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. I did really like it. I think it's a very good, reboot, reintroduction to pop culture for the franchise. It did very well over the weekend. So, hopefully we'll get more of McKenna busting ghosts.
Oh yeah. Dustin, what are your thoughts on Ghostbusters Afterlife?
I'm very much along the same lines. I think there were a lot of times where they did sacrifice substance for nostalgia.
Right.
And I was actually one of those people that actually did kind of like the something completely new in the 2016. And I liked having just this new story. I'm like, okay, let's see if we can bring new life, so to speak, to the Ghostbusters franchise. But I really like the direction that they're going. I like what Jami said about kind of the comparisons that you can make between Force Awakens and Ghostbusters Afterlife. What really matters is what they do next. I think they have a start. It's not the best start, but it's not a horrible start.
Right.
It all really now depends on if they can take this nostalgia, if they can take what they did with making us love Paul Rudd, making us love McKenna Grace, making us love podcast. Thank you. The word was coming out of my mouth.
Yes.
And seeing what they can now add to this adventure. See if we can make a whole new franchise out of it. What I really wanted to see more than anything was kind of what they did in the next, kind of like the Next Generation cartoon, where it was it was the old Ghostbusters teaching at a college about supernatural, and then they handed off to their students, kind of going, hey, I'm too old for this. You guys would be great.
That actually would have been kind of cool too.
I wanted to see that so bad in some genre, and we kind of got that.
It felt a little like that.
It's kind of like, since it's Egon's daughter or granddaughter, you do kind of get that passing of the torch, as opposed to just some new chumps that get the proton packs.
Yeah. And let me just add too, since you brought up Harold Ramis, I thought that it was done, without giving anything away, very tastefully. It wasn't a Carrie Fisher and Rise of Skywalker kind of thing. I thought they did it very, very classy and tastefully, and I thought that was well done.
Yeah. And those were the moments that got me a little misty-eyed.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah.
For the next one, because I feel like this movie definitely paved the way for the future of this next generation of Ghostbusters, because we can't, as much as we love the original and there's no replacement for them ever, but they won't be around forever, unfortunately. If they could live forever, obviously we want that, but they got to pass the torch on somehow. So for the next installment, if they choose to do so, and if Jason Reitman will continue to helm the film, because I think he gets it, it stays in the family and everything, I would love to see them utilize Finn Wolfhard and I forget the actress's name, but her character name is Lucky. I would like for them to utilize the both of them a little bit more. They were kind of, I think, swept off to the side, and they definitely focused on Phoebe, and I can see why. She's the one in the family that's probably most like her grandfather, very scientific, very curious, but Finn's so great, and the character Lucky was a lot of fun. I just wanted to learn a lot about them even a little bit more, so I feel that hopefully for the next one they will do something like that.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, guys, well, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, and this one I can't wait to hear Jami talk all about it.
This one's just for me, folks. This one's just for me.
We talk a little pop culture. Yeah, exactly. We talk a little pop culture on this as well. So this is actually, when you told me about it, I didn't know about this, but we've got Jonah Hill, who is going to be playing Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead in the next Martin Scorsese film for Apple. Jamie, I know you're a huge Deadhead. So your immediate reaction to this casting of Jonah Hill to play Jerry Garcia?
Yeah, and thank you for bringing this subject up. I begged you to let me talk about it a little bit. This isn't the normal thing, Dustin, that we would talk about on this show. But, it's fandom, and I don't know a musical group with a bigger fandom than the Grateful Dead. I've got my Jerry Garcia Funko Pop right here.
They have
I'm a huge. Oh yeah, I'm just of Jerry, but I'm a huge fan. And so, listen, I'm not a big fan of Jonah Hill. I do think he's a very, very good actor. I actually like his dramatic work better than I like his comedic work. So that's a plus for this. He's worked with Scorsese before. Scorsese got brilliant performance out of him, an Oscar nomination for him. And I just know from listening to him in interviews, I mean, he has obviously a lot of reverence for Martin Scorsese. He's not going to mess around. He's going to bring his A game and do everything Scorsese wants him to do for this. If he's good enough for Marty, he's good enough for me. I mean, it's a little bit of a strange choice, but then not so strange when you think about Scorsese and that relationship. He has the look down a little bit. Again, he's a good actor. I think he'll learn guitar. He'll kind of learn all the things. I'm interested in what this story will be. Scorsese directed a brilliant either 5 or 6 hour long Grateful Dead documentary on Amazon. You can watch it. You can stream it now. It's still there. So I don't know how far of the life and the career is it going to just focus on Jerry's. I would imagine it'll be more about the band and Jerry's sort of journey through that. Does it kind of, is it sort of like, the Spencer movie we saw recently with Kristen Stewart, where it's just like this one weekend of Princess Diana's life? Or are we going full, further? Are we accompanying him from, his 20s to his death in his 50s? I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to me to see what the movie actually is. And then the other exciting thing in the next few weeks and months, I would imagine, before they go into production, is we're going to get a lot of announcements of, I would imagine, famous actors playing other iconic parts, right? My first joke was, who's playing Bobby Weir? Leo? But it wouldn't be right, because Bobby was like 16 when Jerry was like 25, so it wouldn't work. But maybe
Leo's a good pick, though. He works with Marty a lot.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine Leo will be there as something. Is it Ken Kesey, Timothy Leary, Bob Dylan? You know what I mean? Like, all these characters will be, they come in and out of Bill Graham, Wavy Gravy. I know I'm naming a lot of counterculture characters, but they all kind of weave in and out of his story. I would imagine they're going to cast Mountain Girl, that will be the female lead. That was his first wife. Who knows who that would be? So there's Donna Jean Gotcha. I mean, there's a lot. There's all the, Phil Lesh and Mickey Hart and Bobby Weir and all the Pigpen, all the Grateful Dead members. So over the years, so it'll be interesting to see what who gets cast and where they focus on the main story. But I'm excited that it's happening. I frankly, as a fan, wouldn't necessarily need a film. I got the documentary. I got all the footage, my memories from going to concerts. I don't need to necessarily see a movie that may or may not work. That's a fictional narrative kind of thing. But it's Martin Scorsese, so you had me at Martin Scorsese. So and the Grateful Dead. So yeah, I'm in.
You have fantasy casting for the members?
Oh.
You can have anybody.
Yeah, so you need to go young with Bobby Weir, assuming that you're kind of starting at the movie begins with the band being created, because he was like 16 when he joined the band. So you need to go someone younger with him, maybe a Finn Wolfhard, someone like that, and then Phil Lesh is interesting because you really need a tall, kind of gawky guy, almost like a Steve Merchant. The comedian Steve Merchant, who's actually a very good actor too. He might be a little too old, to play him in in his 20s. But yeah, that would be interesting. I'll tell you who I'd love to see is Bill Graham, which was the famous promoter, San Francisco promoter, and was the promoter of the Grateful Dead, Metallica, and a bunch of other bands. Mark Maron. Mark Maron would be fantastic as Bill Graham. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that'd be
That's
very
cool.
good. So, but I'll think about it a little bit more and give you some
think
more
about it,
ideas
and when
as
the
the
news
weeks
break,
come.
let's bring it back.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
Very nice. And moving on into a very different universe, into the MCU, we've got Miss Scarlett Johansson. She, it's been announced that she is working and she's going to be directing a top secret Marvel project. No one knows what that is, except we can say that it's none Black Widow related. So we all also remember that she had sued Disney over the Black Widow release strategy because it was, day and date to Disney Plus Premium, as well as in theater. Wait, was it in theaters? Oh my God, it's been so long.
Yeah, no, it was a Disney Plus and theaters release.
Yes,
and then I think the claim was that the Disney Plus hurt the box office of the.
That's right. Yeah. So, and I remember Mr. Kevin Feige spoke out in support of Scarlett. Obviously he's worked with her for a very long time, and she's been one of the first Avengers that we've seen since Iron Man. So she's been around a while, and so I think talking in support of her in regards to the lawsuit wasn't just because he was like, she's worked hard, she wants to be paid for what she's worked on. But I think it also, now that this news is out, potentially also because he's got a partner in producing the next top secret Marvel project. What surprises me is, and it's also refreshing, that it's not a Black Widow project. I think it'd be cool if we got like a Yelena thing, or if we got like a specific Widows program type of a Marvel show or movie. But I think it's going to be refreshing for her to not be doing something Black Widow-y, because she's, donned the costume. She's been in that for so long. So kicking it over to our panelists, Jami, what do you think your theory on what this secret Marvel project might be?
Ooh. Let me get back to that in a second. I just want to say that, yeah, I do agree that Kevin was very supportive of her through all this. And I always felt like it was a sort of like Disney versus Scarlett as opposed to Marvel. Like Marvel was sort of stuck in the middle. So it doesn't, now that got worked out, right? All the drama and the finance got worked out there. Obviously, Marvel would love to work with her again. She's a huge star, talented actress, and, will possibly director. So I think this is exciting. And I also agree with you that, like, I think the first thought is, oh, she's going to direct something Black Widow related.
Right.
But I actually think for her as an artist, she probably wouldn't want to do that, right? Because she's already been there. She created that world. I don't know what would be interesting to her as a filmmaker to sort of explore in that. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is something as polar opposite to the Black Widow world within MCU as it can be. Is it space related? Is it Namor? Is it sea related?
Ooh.
Is it, you know what I mean? There's all sorts of options. I like that I got both of you and ooh out of you with that by just dropping the Namor name. But yeah, there's a lot of different options. I also wouldn't be surprised if it's a female-led story that she's going to direct. That I don't think would be shocking at all. Or at the very least, maybe a team up that has, a majority or at least an equal male and female ratio. So I would expect it to be something kind of wild and out there and unexpected. But we'll see.
Yeah, none Black Widow Marvel project. Dustin, your take on what this project might be?
Well, I do very much agree with Jami that it's going to be something that is very women empowerment, that I really hope that it does kind of follow kind of what Black Widow brought to the MCU, that, she doesn't have any superpowers, but she was able to stand up and be such a valuable member of this team. And I just also really like that after all of the lawsuit, after all of the mud flinging that was kind of going back and forth between Disney and her, that it's over. It's now water under the bridge, and we're now moving on. And obviously they're not like, oh, we're not going to do anything else with Scarlett Johansson anymore. And now she's actually producing a big Marvel project. And I just love the fact that we're obviously going to get more Scarlett Johansson involvement. I've always loved what she did, what she brought to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the fact that she's now going to be more and more involved in it, I think it's just good news for Marvel fans.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm sad about how they, we didn't get to have Black Widow continue on after the events of Avengers Endgame. So the fact that she still may not be Black Widow, but the fact that Scarlett Johansson is still going to be very much involved in Marvel makes me happy. We also know that this is not the only project that she is producing. We also know that she's doing a Tower of Terror for Disney, and I believe Taika Waititi has been tapped to direct. So that's going to be super fun. And then Jamie and Dustin, you both talked about maybe she will be directing involved in something that, female empowerment. So a lot of comments on the internet have been saying this is their theory, this is not confirmed, but maybe something of A-Force would be really cool. That tiny little moment was hinted in Endgame, and it was such a cool. I actually have a commissioned artwork of all the ladies in that shot that I got for Christmas from my cousin. So I think if she were to develop something like that, that would be absolutely phenomenal. And she was right in the middle of it because she knows all these characters. She's shared the screen with many of these characters. So we can't wait, and we're gonna keep our eyes on this piece of news. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and you come on back whenever the news breaks on this project, the secret project maybe, and we will talk about it. And let's
now,
stay
do
within...
we know real quick
yeah,
that
go ahead.
it's whether or not it's a movie or a Disney Plus? Because I think it would be really cool. Yeah, if you're right.
Unknown, but I'm going to guess movie.
An A-Force Disney Plus series.
That'd be cool. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, it's possible.
Because then you have more time to build the team.
Right.
I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, because I think Disney Plus right now is they're really incubating a lot of characters on there that we have yet to see. We've got Moon Knight coming, Miss Marvel, who's going to be in both a series and a movie. Oh, God, I can't wait. The possibilities.
I can't imagine She-Hulk isn't eventually going to be in a film.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. We riot if she doesn't. Just kidding. But staying within the MCU, we've got very exciting casting news for the upcoming Blade movie because Delroy Lindo has joined the cast. You probably know him from most recently The Harder They Fall, which is streaming out on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, I think you should take this week or the Thanksgiving weekend and give it a watch. It's very, very entertaining. And you might also know him from The Five Blood, which also has another familiar face in the Marvel family, Chadwick. I can't speak today. Chadwick Boseman. I was trying to mix his name around for some reason. So he's going to be in Blade. Delroy Lindo is going to be in Blade. There's no specific confirmation on which character he's going to be playing, but the fans are already speculating that he's going to be playing a version of the Whistler. Dustin, your thoughts on Delroy Lindo joining the MCU and being in Blade?
Well, I've always said anytime that you add talent to a project, it's always exciting. It's always good news. And Delroy Lindo has shown time and time again that he is just an amazing talent. He can do that kind of intense character that we really do want to see from a character like Whistler. He has that he can definitely pull off that kind of mentored, traumatized character. I mean, we saw it in The Five Bloods. We've seen it in so many other projects that he's worked on. I'm really, really excited. And I can't wait for it to be confirmed exactly what role he's playing, because everyone right now just wants to immediately throw him into like a hero role. I mean, he could be a villain in Blade as well. So which I think he could pull off incredibly well as well.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I actually hadn't thought of him. You're right. I'm one of those people who literally I was like, Delroy Lindo, hero. Just immediately
Yeah.
Right.
hero. But you know what? I think him being a villain, which of course we don't know anything yet, that would be interesting to see too. Jamie, your thoughts on the new addition to the Blade movie?
Yeah, I agree. I think my first thought is he's probably playing Whistler, which makes a lot of sense. I have to say, and I think I said this on the show before, I was really hoping they'd go with a little meta casting and cast Wesley Snipes as Whistler this time around. Because I know
it could
he wants
happen,
to be, and it
though,
could. I mean,
we don't know.
and I
Right?
bet
We don't
Wesley
know
Snipes
if,
will appear in the movie
like
in
Dustin
some
said,
way.
we don't know if Delroy Lindo is going to
Right.
be hero or villain. So Jamie, that theory
Yeah,
could
and
potentially be true.
Absolutely, I think Dustin's right. I think he could be a villain as well. We don't know that he's Whistler, but it would make sense. A villain would make sense too. Yeah, I think that Wesley Snipes will show up in some way in the movie, whether it's a cameo or an actual role. Yeah, I love Delroy Lindo. He's one of my favorite actors. Absolutely love The Harder They Fall. It's one of my favorite movies of the year, and I thought he got robbed by not even getting an Oscar nomination last
For
year.
The Five Bloods.
Yeah.
Bloods.
Yes,
Oh, it's
thank
the best
you.
performance of the year. I mean, it was ridiculous. So he is an amazing actor, and that's one of the things Marvel does so well is getting like the best actors, and sometimes actors that maybe you don't really think about. I don't know. How much Delroy Lindo is really on everyone's mind all the time. He should be, but I don't know that he is. And so I think it's just they do a really good job of casting great actors, and this is just another case of that.
Hold on, I just thought of something. Sorry, go you go, Dustin. I'll keep this thought in my mind.
I just wanted to bounce off the idea of what how Jamie brought up that he was kind of snubbed for that Oscar. I mean, just a nomination, because in The Five Bloods, he did such an amazing job on having a character that, a lot of people, especially in this political dynamic right now, would kind of shun, but he gave you sympathy for that character. You saw what he had gone through. You felt it. And even though he was behaving in such a way that a lot of people would kind of go like, oh, that I know people like that and they rub me the wrong way, you still felt this incredible sympathy for what his character had gone through, his frame of mind at the time and his relationships. And you're just like, he brought so much life to a character like that, to people who are like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't know if I can follow that. That was kind of deep. I enjoy that because mine's very, how our tinfoil hat is kind of always half on, half off here on Pop Council. So it just kind of got me thinking. I was thinking about the casting, and you guys were saying how when Marvel cast, like they really, when they see talent, like we got to snag talent. Like they snagged Chloe Zhao before she won the Oscar, because they saw the talent in her work, and they're like, she's gonna direct one of our movies. So I was just thinking about all the Marvel things that are coming, and I know we're going to talk about the SpiderMan trailer literally in like 2 topics, but I know also that there's been lots of rumors, nothing's confirmed, that Charlie Cox is going to be back as potentially as Daredevil. And then so I was thinking about all the Marvel Netflix shows, and I was thinking, well, if Charlie Cox is going to be back as Daredevil, then maybe we get also, Luke Cage back. And that made me think about Mahershala Ali, who was a villain in that, but now he's Blade. And I just think that's so interesting that they're like, we're gonna keep him in the Marvel family just because we killed him off.
Well, they've done that. They've done that before. Alfre Woodward was both a character in Luke Cage and a character in Civil War.
Yeah,
and
Gemma
of course,
Chan as well.
That was the next one, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that, and I actually remember years ago talking to Kevin Feige, I think for some event for maybe the Blu-ray for Avengers Age of Ultron, and asking if the MCU ever introduces Wilton Fisk, the Kingpin, would it be D'Onofrio, or would they cast their own Kingpin actor for the MCU? And his answer then was, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't use Vincent D'Onofrio. And I feel like that's still, whatever, we're 6 or 7 years later, I feel like that's still kind of where they're at. They had some really great actors, especially John Bernthal is another one who's really blowing up as a, they don't want to not be in business with him. And so just because, they didn't really own the Netflix shows and they didn't really have any creative control over them and they want to separate the two, I don't think that means that those actors won't be seen again or those characters. And if that's the case, I really would hate that, because Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Punisher are three of my favorite characters from Marvel Comics. And to have them be like, for whatever reason, blacklisted and they can't appear in the MCU now. And we're getting, no offense, but a lot of C- characters from Marvel Comics, I'm not going to say who, but are getting major films now. And so where, Punisher is a much bigger name than something, or I'm trying hard not to insult any other films that have already come out, but you know what I mean? Punisher is a big brand name. Obviously, the Kingpin in the world of Spider-Man is certainly from the 90s cartoon. A lot of fans know who that is. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. So I hope that those characters do make their way into MCU at some point soon, whether it's the big screen, Disney Plus, and whether it's those actors or not. But all of those actors were fantastic in those roles. I mean, I don't need those characters to be recast, but I understand if that's, maybe what Kevin wants to do. But I just hope we see those characters in the MCU.
Well, that's what I think. Why Marvel is in such an amazing position right now for a lot of characters that they've now recently acquired, is the fact that they can be like, we didn't like this, but we love this. Let's take this. We'll take this. Let's change this up a little bit. Because if you do like a little tweaks to the things that we didn't like in some of the Netflix shows, keep the things that we did like, we already now know what works. So I think Marvel right now is just kind of sitting back and going, hey, let's take what we like and change what we didn't.
Right. So basically take everything except Iron Fist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I didn't love.
Pretend
I tried.
Iron Fist never happened.
We watched
That's
all
so
of
bad.
season 1, and
I
we
did
even
too.
watched season 2, and then we watched because they made the Defenders too.
The Defenders, right?
I tried really hard, and I just couldn't connect with it like I
Defenders was a
did the other
disappointment
show.
too.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
Defenders
mean I
was a
liked that. There were characters in it that I liked a lot, and I wanted to see like the daughter of the dragons, was it right?
Right.
With Colleen, and like I wanted to see more of that, but well, I mean, who knows? Maybe Colleen comes back in one way or another if they start bringing everybody back. Who knows? But what's also another very exciting casting in a galaxy far, far away is we now have our live action casting for Sabine Wren, and the photo you're looking at is one of Natasha Liu Bordizzo, who is going to be playing Sabine in the live action Ahsoka series. And you guys know Ahsoka is like my favorite all-time character. I've been very, very excited to hear more about the Ahsoka live action series. Obviously, we got kind of a little tease and a little kickoff point for where Ahsoka is going to start. They dropped the name Thrawn, and immediately the internet went insane. I think Thrawn and Ahsoka were both trending on Twitter probably the night that episode aired on The Mandalorian. So we know Ahsoka is off to search for Thrawn, which then would also maybe lead us to her finding Ezra. And we know that her partner in crime, as far as the search go, because we saw this in Rebels, is Sabine Wren. So we've got the actress. Now we just need to see who they're going to be casting for if we do get an Ezra and if we get Thrawn. But I'm very excited about this. I think her age, her look, and everything lines up with what I think Sabine would look like. I can't wait to see how they style her hair. Sabine is known to be quite colorful. She puts her creation of artwork on her Mandalorian armor. So it's very exciting. Dustin, flying right over to you, your excitement and prediction on what episode Sabine's going to come in for the Ahsoka series.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she appears in episode 1, because that is pretty much where Rebels ended. We know that Ahsoka's been on this journey through the Mandalorian of trying to find Grand Admiral Thrawn. So and we know that Sabine is right there with her on that journey, that she is going to go find Ezra, that this is a mission for her. This is now that the Empire has fallen, this is her next big goal. She's leaving behind like anything that's Mandalore. And she's like, no, I'm now worried more about my friends. She handed over the Darksaber. And I am just so excited to see this next chapter because one, they did Thrawn amazingly well in Rebels. I loved where they took the story of Ezra. I love how they did Ahsoka in The Mandalorian. So I am just super excited to see the continuation of all of these stories, of all of these characters that we have just come to love so well. And I have to admit, though, Natasha doesn't really have much of a filmography, but she, and I haven't seen her in a lot of different, many different things, but I mean, she definitely has that look. I mean, when you had that picture up of the two side by side of Sabine and her, I'm just like, oh yeah, I can see that. Cut her hair short, give her some fun hair color in there, and she's good to go. So I'm excited to see what she brings to the role. She does have her, her work cut out for her because Sabine is a very loved character. And the fact that she does have, Sabine has a little bit of a cult following to where, because she is just that spunky, free-spirited, get out of my way kind of character. And she's going to have to bring just that sass and that power to, and that free spirit to this character. So I'm excited to see what she brings.
Yeah, absolutely. Jami, your thoughts on this casting for the Ahsoka live action series?
I mean, I pretty much agree with everything Dustin just said. I think the casting is great. Looks just like the character. So that's pretty good casting right there. I'm not too familiar with her work, but just going to assume that she's a good actress, or otherwise they probably wouldn't have cast her for the role. And yeah, I'm excited. It seems to me like this series is going to go in the direction of sort of post Rebels and kind of pick up a lot of the loose story threads from that, which is very exciting. And so, yeah, I kind of see, it kind of going this direction. It'll be interesting to see who they cast as Ezra, who they cast as Thrawn. I mean, I think Thrawn is the big one that's, a lot of people are wondering who that's going to be. And unfortunately, a lot of people that I would just off the top of my head think would be perfect for it have already played characters in the Star Wars universe and can't, we can't use Mendelsohn again, right? We can't Ben Mendelsohn, and we can't use Richard E. Grant. So yeah, but there's lots of other great actors out there. I don't want to say it's just we can only use Ben Mendelsohn or Richard E. Grant, but yeah, it's going to be exciting to see. That will be big news when that drops for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to be keeping our eyes for more casting coming for the Ahsoka series, which I believe starts production in May of 2022. So that is coming I'm sure by like the second third week of March. I know I want it now. We're gonna. I
want it to come out May 2022. I want them to start
not in
filming.
Production. What do you mean I can't have it right now?
Since they announced Ahsoka, I was like, I want to see this because I've wanted to see the continuation story of Rebels so bad. And since Rebels ended years ago.
I'm just gonna rewatch that episode of her in The Mandalorian over and over until I get, the Ahsoka live action series. So I'll be watching it for like over a year. Well, let's take the remaining time of today's show and let's dig into, because this trailer came out on Tuesday, so day after the last week's episode of Pop Council. But we got the official trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home. They did a whole there was like a theatrical presentation of it. Tom Holland was there talking about a little bit about the trailer, about him working on the project. Spoilers not included. And I know that fans are looking at this trailer very, very closely to see any sort of Easter eggs, because we certainly did not get an Andrew or a Peter in this one. But fans are saying, hey, but that last final scene with all the baddies, it's like the most stereotypical, and we love this, by the way. I'm calling it stereotypical because we do
Get
see
the
it in a lot of the
magnifying
comic
glass
book.
and look at the.
We get the scene in a lot of comic book movies of the good guy from one side, the bad guys from the other side, and they jump and they clash into battle in the middle of it. But we love it because Avengers do it too, and I'm just like, yes, final face-off. And people are looking at the Lizard, and there's one specific international trailer where the Lizard takes a punch by an invisible force. People are saying that most likely it's the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man because they had faced off in his film before, which makes sense. And then there's other memes like it's Ant-Man because you can't see, you know, it's Susan Storm because you can't see, and all this other, which like I think it's fun to have a little fun with this. But Jamie, your thoughts on Tony holding the cards tight to their chest? Sony, not Tony. Sony holding the cards tight to their chest and not showing us a glimpse of any other Spider-Man who may or may not be in the film, because honestly, we don't know. It's not confirmed.
Okay. Yeah. I know. I agree with you. So let's assume that they're in the movie.
Right.
Then Sony should not be showing them. That's the last big trick you got left, I think. And by the way, it's not that big a trick because if it is the case, because everyone thinks it's the case. What is worse is if it's not the case, if they're not in the movie, and Sony hasn't been lying about it. They've been upfront. They're not in the movie. Andrew tells everyone we're not in the movie. And we just don't believe them. And then everyone gets really upset on Twitter and disappointed, December 16th or 17th when the movie comes out, because Toby and, like, don't expect too much. It'll be a really pleasant surprise if they're there. If they're not, just don't expect too much. And as far as this whole thing about like, all these internet videos, YouTube videos, and we're freeze framing and we're looking, I think I saw this because this lightning is here and this sand is here. That means that this is there and Mephisto and this, and and it's just stop. The movie will be out in less than a month. You'll get to see it. We'll find out, like, just stop with, like, I see the Lizard makes a little move to the left, and so he must be taking a punch from a Spider-Man. You don't know. It could be.
We don't know.
It could be Doctor Strange. Where did I see something like someone's trying to say that because of that, that it's that it's either Gwen Stacy, like Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy, or Kirsten Dunst's MJ, and even Kirsten Dunst, who was promoting Power of the Dog, was like, I'm not in this. So I don't know, like, we just gotta, I don't really think everyone's lying, right? Like, I think with Andrew Garfield and all these people, like, we're not in it. I mean, yes, they could be lying, and we've seen that happen before.
Yes,
but,
yes.
I don't know. I just don't want to. And I've talked about it before. This poster I saw, this fan-made poster, Dustin. It's a Spider-Man No Way Home poster. It's got everyone in it, including Darth Vader, John Wick, Ben Affleck's Batman, and Jesus Christ. And the caption is, "Will this meet my expectations?" And I'm really worried that Sony and Disney could deliver the greatest Spider-Man movie ever made, and we're still going to be disappointed because we didn't get to see Andrew Garfield, a guy who was Spider-Man for 2 movies, play, return, and then and Toby, who's essentially retired, as an actor. So I'm not holding my breath, but if they show up, it'll be great, right? Like, it'll be great if they show up, but I don't want to be disappointed by the movie, expecting them the entire time. And then, only having one Spider-Man, that's not a disappointment to me, only having one Spider-Man in a movie, right. But it may be to others. We'll see.
Well,
the conspiracy theories are half the fun. I mean, honestly,
he knows we do it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Dustin.
Here's my huge conspiracy theory. So that Sony deliberately leaked the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, so everyone would talk about it, and it would completely divert direction and attention away from the fact that we're not going to get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, but we're going to be getting Miles Morales, Gwen Stacy. But then I was thinking, but wait, we're going up against 6 villains. What if we had Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, Miles Morales, Gwen Stacy, and Daredevil? Because
I thought you were going to say Venom. because Venom's
Yeah.
hanging out there.
Yeah.
We could have Venom in there too. I mean,
Good God.
Jesus Christ is showing up. I mean, why not Venom? But
Right.
I mean, honestly, the going nuts on the theories is true. It could be a little dangerous because then you go into this with, oh my gosh, we're gonna see this and that, and then when you don't get exactly what you want, I have to admit, I have fallen into that trap so many times because I just let my fandom, my geekness just go off so far, and then I can't reel them back in, kind of a thing. But so far, even if they have just Tobey Maguire, if they have two different Spider-Man,
right?
It's definitely that there's more than they're showing us. And there's so much hush, hush, whisper, whisper. No, he's not playing Khan, kind of a thing going on.
Right.
That everyone is now just going wild. And that's exactly probably what Sony wants, is everyone to be so obsessed with whatever they're talking about. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're thinking that Darth Vader is going to show up in this. And honestly, I would love, since there's that moment in the trailer where you see Doctor Strange going, I can't hold it back, or whatever he says. I want to see this one moment to where you just see the Watcher break through the one side, and then you see Ultron crash through. They fight a little bit, and then the breakthrough again, and it just lasts like maybe 20 seconds,
right?
And somewhere far in the background, and it's just this one. It's just a little fan service to What If fans, and I'm just like, you could pull that off because the multiverse is shattering at this moment,
right? That would be awesome.
Would be crazy.
That would be awesome.
And also, as a PSA from all of us here at Pop Council to you, don't let your headcanon get in the way of you enjoying the film. Enjoy what the storytellers are giving you on the screen and savor it. And then afterwards, rewind and think about your headcanon. But we've got a little bit of time left on the show. So really quickly, we're going to go around the horn. This past weekend, everything dropped. Like, everything released. Whether it was in movie theaters or on streaming platforms or whatever. On Netflix, we got Cowboy Bebop. On Amazon Prime Video, we have The Wheel of Time, both of which have a huge fan base. Dustin, I know you have read a couple times through the entire novel series of The Wheel of Time. I watched Cowboy Bebop a lot when I was in college. Jami, did you get a chance to take a look at the first episode of either show?
I got to watch the first episode of both shows, yeah.
What are your thoughts on both?
So I liked Cowboy Bebop. Well, I like both shows. I think I like first episodes of anything. I mean, they're setting up. So there's a lot of sort of setup and, introducing people and blah, blah, blah. I liked the style of Cowboy Bebop. I liked the way that it was shot, and it's very stylistic, which I think, I'm not that familiar with the anime, but from what I've seen of the anime, it looks to be very influenced by it. I like that a lot. I like John Cho. So I thought that was leading a lot of interesting things. I think I may continue watching that show, at least for a few more episodes, and kind of get into it. As for Wheel of Time, some great action, some really great action, especially in the first episode. It's Lord of the Ringsy. I see where it's going. We're going on a journey. The one thing I'll say about this series is there's a lot of exposition, but I felt like the exposition is very well placed to explain what's going. I mean, like, I think it even starts with the voiceover from Rosamund Pike, where she sort of explains this world, and I'm like, oh, thank you, because I wouldn't know what's going on here. Oh, thank you. So I thought that for non-readers of the original source material, I thought that the show did a very good job of kind of, hey, come along. This is we're going in this direction. So just so you know, and these are these people, and this is this thing, and I think Rosamund explains it a couple of different times, even at the very end, just in case you didn't understand what the show is going to be about. I'm going to explain why you four need to come with me now. And so I like that. So I may try. I mean, there's just so much stuff that we need to watch. Yes. I don't know how much of it in so little time, but
with Hawkeye coming out this week too.
Yeah, but if I can, I will continue to watch these shows. I enjoyed the first episode of each.
Awesome. And Dustin, very quickly to you, your quick thoughts on Cowboy Bebop first episode and Wheel of Time first episode.
Well, as you know, yes, I'm a lot more attached to the Wheel of Time series. I have read a lot of those books more than once, but I hadn't had that much of a connection with Cowboy Bebop. Wendy showed me, like, I think we've watched like the first 5-6 episodes of like the anime, and then we went into the show. And I do have to admit, I do think that they really sacrificed style over substance in Cowboy Bebop. I really do feel like they're going a little bit more for the tongue-in-cheek. I feel like it's a little over the top, but it's kind of hard not to do that when you adapt an anime into a live action, since anime itself is so stylized. For Wheel of Time, I'm having a really, really hard time separating my love of the books from this, because they changed so much about so many things that I'm like, what are you doing? I'm sitting next to Wendy, and she's like, oh, this is so cool. I like it. Oh, good action. I like the story. Oh, I like these characters. I like this, the magic that they're using. And I'm sitting here as like, this is not how it's supposed to go. Why does this character have this? What is wrong? This is not that character. I'm like, Dustin, pull back. Let them tell their story. But it's not right. And I'm really kind of turning into kind of like one of those Star Trek kids, like how they make fun of those Star Trek fans. In episode 5, season 4 of this.
No.
I'm like, I'm trying, no. Don't do it, Dustin. Don't do it. I can't. I love these characters so much. I'm gonna so in the books, like things like Perrin doesn't have a wife. Matt's supposed to be super lucky. And some of these things that the way that they introduce some of the characters and the storyline and the plot points, and I'm just like, no, and it's so frustrating. And if I did not read the books, I would be liking this series a lot more, because like Wendy,
I only read up to book 4, and this was 10 years ago, so I remember not much.
But I think one of the big problems is, especially for fans of the book, is that when filmmakers get a hold of the book, they're like, oh, I want to create something new, so even the people who read the book are surprised. And people who read the book are like, no, I want to see what I love come to life. I don't care if I already know what's going to happen. I want to see all of these moments, all of these characters, all of these lines, all of this storyline brought to life. And it's that struggle between letting something new happen and letting I want to see what I want to see. So I'm going to continue watching this series, and I'm going to struggle with that the entire time.
Well, they fixed one of those issues that you had with in the beginning for one of the characters. I won't say who, because it's only the 3 episodes are just out, but so there's that. They fixed that for you. And in any case, you guys, we are completely out of time. I hope you enjoyed our discussion on all the topics today. Thank you to our fellow Pop Council members for taking the time to discuss all the geeky topics with us. Going to our guest, Dustin, where can everybody find you on social?
Well, you can actually find me on YouTube's with the Movie Couple. Come and watch Wendy and I talk about all of the latest in fun and exciting movies, culture, theaters. I mean, we talk about everything and anything, food. You can also check me out on Twitch under Darth Szany, where I stream a whole bunch of video games, and I'm trying to make affiliates. So come and watch and follow.
There you go. Jami, where can everybody find you on social?
Awesome. Yeah, you can check me out Instagram and Twitter at Philbrick. My name on YouTube, and please check out. I started doing reviews and other articles for MoviePhone, so you can check that out on MoviePhone.com. Yay!
There you go. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wendy Lee Szany, on YouTube, The Movie Couple, and Twitch.tv/Wendy Lee Szany, playing video games. And you guys, there's tons of shows that are on the Hollywood Critics Association YouTube channel, so make sure you have subscribed. If you're a comic book fan, we've got the Lone Box with Tessa and Jonita that comes out on Tuesdays. If you're a horror fan, we have Horrifically Horrifying that is on Wednesdays. What to Stream, in case you don't know what you want to watch, What to Stream is on Thursdays, and Hollywood Approved on Fridays, as well as Trending in Hollywood. And we also have a couple of after shows. One of them has ended, but if you know, it doesn't mean you shouldn't watch it, because if you're still watching the show, then you can come in and tune into the Morning Show After Show by Kira Lynn, Morgan Rojas, and Kevin Taft. And Jamie, you've got an after show as well.
Foundation, yeah, we just wrapped this week 10 episodes, but they're on YouTube. Check them out.
There you go. Thank you so much, everybody. That's us. That's our time, and we will check you next Monday. Bye, everybody.